Competitors. I've broken this down into 4 categories. Direct, the people sitting around you. To be honest, the least dangerous. Accidental. If I write a blog about Paris Hilton and you're trying to sell holidays to the Hilton in Paris, we are competitors, whether we like it or not. We don't mean to be, but we are. Unfortunately, travel is a horrendous area in terms of taxonomies and ontologies, in that you've got Dublins all over the place, you've got all these different words that have different meanings in different contexts. So you get quite a lot of overlap into different areas. Professional internet marketeers. Can I ask, sorry, I'm standing back here because I'm getting a bit blind, I want to see people. Everyone who owns between 1 and 5 sites, put their hands up, please. Okay. Everyone who owns between 5 and 20 sites, put your hands up. Everyone who owns between 20 and 100 sites, put your hands up. We've 1. 2. Everyone who owns between 100 and 50,000 sites, put your hands up. Okay, so there's no internet marketers in the room. Because you can be absolutely certain 50,000 is a small number, yeah? They're auto-generated. There was a famous incident a few years ago, and it's actually openly stated by Google, where Dave Naylor went mad and launched 250,000 or something ridiculous like that in like a couple of days. And he made an absolute killing off it, and then they all got kicked out. But what you've got to realize is internet marketeers will launch 1,000 sites in a day, 10,000 sites in a day. They don't care. Search engines are direct competitors. Their job is to be an intermediary. So if you've got to understand, if they can get people to the end information in a quicker way, they will. And therefore, they will bypass you. Most common question I'm asked, pay-per-click versus SEO. Which is better? Neither. There are certain things that you just can't do with SEO. There are certain things you just can't do with pay-per-click. If you get a call from a hotel owner and they say, I've got 50 rooms available next weekend, and I'll do you a deal if you sell them, SEO is not worth a damn to you because you cannot get that to market in time. You need to build it. Pay-per-click's absolutely perfect because you can just throw up an AdWords campaign and sell the rooms. One of the major things that most people that are professionals in the area will use pay-per-click for is to test keywords, because SEO takes time. So what you want to do is you want to take a batch of keywords, you test them on pay-per-click, you see what's converting. Whatever's converting, you then hammer onto, and you SEO. It's also very interesting to see just how defensive people are around certain keywords and how much they're willing to bid for it. And sometimes you just push it just to see how far they'll go. Because if they're willing to bid a lot, they're converting it, yeah? And that's where their profit's coming from. It's very telling. This is really a kind of, I suppose, a quick list for people who are starting out. I'm completely biased, again, for Drupal, because we're the biggest Drupal consultancy in Europe. But any open source CMS is better than a proprietary one, because not only is it technically probably better, but you can get free modules and you free up money. On-topic content, really, you have to nail it if you want to do it. Any level of SEO. Page structure. When you use Word and you use a H1 header and you put in bullet points and you nicely structure a Microsoft Word document, that's the way you've got to try and look at structuring your actual on-page content in terms of HTML. Quality backlinks. Get a BBC link. That's all I'd say. Yeah. And if you want to win for cheap holidays, get them that link to say cheap holidays. I've randomly picked 5 tools. I would say the first one is the absolute most important. Google Webmaster Tools is the most useful in terms of giving you a view on what they think of you. You get a lot of insight, you spot errors, it's really useful, it's really easy to use. Even ourselves, we have stacks and stacks of tools, we still check Webmaster Tools. Yahoo Backlink Checker is wonderful. You can see what all your competitors are doing. You can see where they're buying links, getting links. And you can then see if you can buy or acquire the links. No, sorry, that get kicked out. SEO chat have a wonderful range of tools. Web CEO will give that page structure information to you. And if you're not using Firefox, you're not doing SEO. The art of war. 2,400, 500 years ago, there's a guy called Sun Tzu, and he wrote a book called The Art of War. It was in 1917. It was translated by Colonel Lionel someone. And since then, there's been about 1,000 variations. All of them are pretty varying in quality, and the original is the best. But I live by it. It's got 13 chapters, but actually it breaks down to 4 key things. You've got to know yourself, your enemy, your strategy, know when and how to fight. Hopefully at the end of this, I'll have helped you to get to some degree to that, to know these 4 elements. Planning is, when I talk about planning, I'm not talking about sitting down and writing a plan. I'm talking about the entire process of planning. I'm talking about understanding all of the elements that are meant to underpin the plan. So we're talking about who's understanding our competitors in detail. We're talking about understanding the market conditions in detail. We're understanding all of the circumstantial factors. Circumstantial factors are one of the big things that you guys have to deal with. And by that, I mean you have major events, and you have massive trends, and you have areas, you know, you have volcanoes exploding, and you'll have massive peaks in the first week of January if you're a ski tour operator. And you've got to understand those in order to react to them. I have highlighted who has the best systems because SEO is fundamentally geeky, so he with the best systems usually wins, unless they're an idiot. There is quite a few of those. Waging war is when we're actually in the throes of a fight. When we're actually competing with somebody and we're going head-to-head for a key term or 100 key terms, or one of my clients actually has 15 million keywords. Seems insane, but they do make quite a lot of money. When you're fighting, you get knackered. You watch it, a boxing match, anything. People get tired. In SEO terms, what happens to get tired is actually your capacity to build links and build new content. So when we talk about prolonged battle, you know, fighting when you're ready, understanding everything, realistically, what you're talking about is, can I build sites? Can I get the content out? And can I get the links? You'd be amazed how quickly, when you've run a sustained campaign, you start to feel the strain on that. Know the methods and tools used in your sector is important. If you're in the Viagra space, every dirty trick on the face of the planet will be used. If you're in the Bible space, it probably won't. Anyone want to guess which end of the scale travel is? Because I'd say it's right up beside Viagra in terms of the tricks that are used. It is horrendously dirty. There's unbelievable amounts. And that's driven by a requirement, the PPC called our values. Attacking by stratagem. When we talk about attacking by stratagem, what we're talking about is figuring out the best way to win, not the best way to fight. And there's a critical difference in that. Sometimes it's better not to fight. And if you can take somebody intact and you can reuse them or reuse their methods or whatever, it is usually better. We have an example about 5 months ago, 6 months ago, where we bought a website for a client after doing some research on the traffic they were getting. We bought the website for £32,000. The pay-per-click value of the traffic for that client was £484,000 in the first year. One of the things was it was an accidental competitor. Their actual value on the keywords and everything else were completely skewed because they weren't thinking of it in that way. In all areas of strategy, being first is a huge advantage.